That was the E-Zone with Honeybee and Kareem Boyatings. In the entertainment block on Nationwide 90 FM.
Stop putting off those plumbing projects. Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for plumbing supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, a prominent Spanish Town-based medical doctor is arrested in connection with the police's effort to dismantle the Klansman gang.
A policeman shot and injured in attempted robbery at an electronics store in Halfway Tree today.
The President of the Senate says there's no lingering animosity between the heads of the Houses of Parliament and retired clerk Valerie Curtis.
The Speaker and the former clerk do not have a poisonous relationship. I have no animosity towards Miss Curtis.
And Senator Tom Tavares Vinson also defended the decision not to recommend a second extension for Ms. Curtis.
I was of the view that the Parliament needs a new and more progressive approach to the administration.
Victims of the multi-billion-dollar fraud at SSL will have to wait longer for their stolen money to be recovered.
In news from the rest of the world, drought causes power cuts in Ecuador.
The UAE and Oman are reeling from deadly storms.
In headline sports, Trinidad and Tobago Red Force stages brilliant recovery against Jamaica Scorpions in regional cricket at Sabina Park.
And later on our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, the Ministry of Finance says victims of the fraud at Stocks and Securities Limited may have to wait longer for their stolen money to be recovered. We'll give you the latest update.
Also in the cover story, concerns are being raised about the Holness administration's failure to hold regular meetings of several government-chaired committees of Parliament. Among those raising concern is Opposition MP for South St. Catherine Fitz Jackson and Executive Director of the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, Jeanette Calder. They'll join us.
And in public opinion at 6:26, we'll ask, what's your reaction to the controversial pictures posted on Minister Alanda Terrelong's Instagram? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and tweet us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-2855-693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
And at 8, it's Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings Weathers.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available in Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, April 17, 2024.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. A prominent medical doctor in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been arrested by the police following investigations into his alleged involvement with members of the notorious Klansman gang. Nationwide News understands that the doctor was apprehended at his office on Monday. It's understood that he'll face an identification parade soon. 22 members of the St. Catherine-based Klansman gang have been arrested and charged under the anti-gang law and other serious offences. These include murder, conspiracy to murder, robbery, illegal possession of firearm, and ammunition. The men, including the alleged leader of one faction of the gang, Tesha Miller, are to return to the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Thursday. We'll continue to track this story as it develops.
A policeman was shot and injured during an attempted robbery at a phone and electronics store on Central Plaza in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew, on Wednesday afternoon. The store owner was also injured in the incident that reportedly occurred minutes after 1 p.m. Head of the St. Andrew Central Division, Senior Superintendent Marlon Nesbeth, says the police are on the hunt for the robbers.
Two perpetrators, when they are female and a male, the owner of the store was able to, in the process, hold on to the male who had the gun. Subsequently, he managed to get away from the proprietor, and some shooting started to intrude one of our own, a policeman who turned up as a customer. There's some injury to the proprietor, not through gunshot wounds, but as the tussle ensued, the policeman himself is being treated for presently. We are trying to locate the robbers as we speak. We have some good leads for our pursuing.
Senior Superintendent Marlon Nesbeth, head of the St. Andrew Central Police Division.
Minister of State for National Security Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn says there's been an 8% increase in the seizure of illegal guns as of March this year compared to the corresponding period last year. Minister Cuthbert-Flynn was speaking at the launch of the firearms marking workshop held at the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine in Kingston on Tuesday. Mahira Stewart reports.
Minister Cuthbert-Flynn says the police have seized more than 200 guns across the country since the start of the year.
Since the start of this year, 2024, up to March, the end of March, 244 illegal firearms were seized, representing an increase of approximately 8% compared to 2023 for the same period. The data indicates that these illegal firearms are not just accessible to criminals, but firearms are the weapon of choice for criminals, and in particular criminal gang networks, as they feature approximately 84% of murders committed in our country, Jamaica.
She says recent government legislation has been implemented with the intent to restrict the flow of illegal guns and ammunition across Jamaica's borders.
The illicit trafficking and proliferation of firearms continue to be a matter of national concern, which has demanded a comprehensive response involving a mixture of legislation, policy, and also operational improvements. At the national level, steps have also been taken to strengthen the legislative framework governing the regulations of firearm and ammunition through the passage of the new Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulations Act in 2022. This piece of legislation is one of the most significant advancements made to curb the illicit trafficking and proliferation of firearms and ammunition in our country.
The Firearms Marking Workshop is funded by the Government of the United States of America and coordinated by the United Nations Regional Center for Peace, Disarmament, and Development in Latin America and the Caribbean. The 3-day workshop, which started on Tuesday, will come to an end on Thursday. Minister Cuthbert-Flynn says the workshop is timely and will help the police in their efforts to stem the tide of illegal guns into the country.
Firearm marking training is such a critical step towards tackling the significant challenges of illicit proliferation of firearms that confronts us all. And this will provide our ballistic expert and our law enforcement officers with the right tools to effectively track the firearm that enters our shores. Undoubtedly, the effective marking and tracing of firearms will be vital to our efforts to combat transnational organized crime. As well, it will be able to trace illegal firearms used in criminal activities back to the source of origin.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
The President of the Senate, Tom Tavares Finson, says there's no lingering animosity between the heads of the Houses of Parliament and retired clerk Valerie Curtis. He is responding to concerns raised about the treatment of the former clerk. The Senate President also explains why he did not recommend a further extension of Miss Curtis's tenure. Robin Williams reports.
In a statement today, Senator Tom Tavares Finson called for a reduction in the politicization of commentary and posturing concerning Ms. Curtis. The Senate President says the current leadership of Parliament has facilitated Ms. Curtis extensively and wishes her well on her retirement.
The Speaker and the former clerk do not have a poisonous relationship. They do not. I have no animosity towards Ms. Curtis. I'm the one that recommended her to take over the role of Speaker from the former clerk, Ms. Heather Cook. I'm the one that recommended her for her national honor, the national honor that she received from this government. I am the one that recommended her on termination of her service at 65, that should be given an additional 2 years. So I have no animosity towards Mrs. Curtis. And I know that the Speaker has no animosity towards her, but that does not mean that she is beyond reproach.
He says a letter of reprimand issued to Ms. Curtis by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, represents a situation that happens from time to time in both the private sector and government. He says the letter is not evidence that there's any existing or prevailing bitterness towards Ms. Curtis.
And it is important to point out, because a person works with an organization for many years, in this particular instance over 30 years, does not mean that that person is beyond reproach if there is an infraction that the presiding officer is of the view warrants such a reprimand. Long service is something that we admire and we recognize, but it does not put a person beyond reproach. That does not work in the public sector, nor does it work in the private sector.
King's Counsel Tavares Finson adds that it's important to note that the Clerk of the Houses of Parliament is not designated as a civil servant according to convention or the Constitution of Jamaica. He says it must be noted that the clerk reports to the Speaker and President of the Senate, who the Jamaican Constitution says is the presiding officer who has the discretion of recommending the clerk to the Governor-General for appointment.
I've become increasingly alarmed, bemused even, at the politicization of the issues relating to the Speaker of the House and the former Clerk of the House, Ms. Valerie Curtis. And the first thing that I wish to point out is that the clerk constitutionally reports to the Speaker and the President of the Senate. The clerk's position is not akin to an individual in the civil service, and that is a constitutional provision.
Senator Tavares Finson further explained why he did not recommend a second extension for Ms. Curtis, who retires at 67 years old after being initially granted a 1-year extension.
Because I was of the view that the Parliament needs a new and more progressive approach to the administration in relation to matters of technology. For example, I was surprised to know that the software that was being used by the Parliament for all of these years was bootlegged. So we need a new approach in the Parliament. But because I did not recommend her extension does not mean that I have an animus towards her. It simply means that I'm interested in the administration of the Parliament. It is unfortunate that this matter has been so politicized. And I think that people need to step back and allow the new management of Parliament the opportunity to move forward with the business of the country.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Victims of the multi-billion-dollar fraud at Stocks and Securities Limited SSL may have to wait some time before their funds are recovered. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke gave an update on the ongoing investigation into the securities dealers in a statement today. Dr. Clarke says asset recovery cannot be pursued until after criminal convictions have been attained. Shaloy Michael tells us more.
According to the latest tally, over 200 client accounts have been affected by the fraud uncovered at SSL last year. The total is approximately $30 million or nearly 5 billion Jamaican dollars. In his statement this afternoon, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says none of the money has been recovered. He says any recovery will be under Jamaica's Proceeds of Crime Act, POCA. The Financial Investigations Division, FID, which is spearheading the SSL probe, is empowered by law to provide for the investigation, identification, and the recovery of the proceeds of crime and related matters. It's possible for the FID to begin the tracing of fraudulently obtained assets before the conclusion of court proceedings in the criminal matter. However, a benefit investigation, which is integral to the forfeiture and recovery process, can only commence after criminal convictions are obtained in connection with the fraud. But the Finance Minister reminds Jamaicans that civil proceedings are open to aggrieved parties and can be started at any time. It should be noted that a court ruling has placed on hold any attempt by aggrieved parties to sue SSL. This is due to an ongoing case to determine whether the authority over SSL should rest with the Financial Services Commission through temporary manager Ken Tomlinson or the trustee appointed by the board of SSL itself. That matter will next be heard on April 29. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to $50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news, Chairman of Parliament's Internal and External Affairs Committee, IEAC, Franklin Witter, says a meeting of the committee will be convened shortly to discuss the ongoing crisis in Haiti. The move comes after South St. Catherine MP Fitz Jackson highlighted the need for the IEAC to be more active. The committee met on Wednesday. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
On Tuesday, Nationwide News reported the lack of meetings held over the years by the various sessional committees of Parliament. According to the records of Gordon House, the IEAC convened only 3 times over the last 3 years. Mr. Jackson says the various committees have a critical role to play in governance.
We have to consider any other areas, because as I mentioned in the discussion with Foreign Affairs, one of the role of the committees, the information provided here is not just for the members of the committee, it's for the broader society, and that's why you have parliamentary committees to provide that forum, and not only to talk to them, but also for them to talk to us through submissions. No two, Mr. Chairman, that the last time we met was April 11th last year. That's over a year ago. It means that we're not doing our work sufficiently, and we have to fix that up.
Chairman of the IEAC, Franklin Witter, agreed with Mr. Jackson that it was time to fix the committee and ensure it fulfilled its mandate. As a start, he hopes to hold discussions regarding the crisis in Haiti and its impact on Jamaica.
And if you could just give us, with your permission, Chairman, a sense of what is happening in Haiti. But, after we close this Samoa agreement, it's just for the benefit of where we are. Jamaica, they are our immediate neighbor, and there's a lot of sensitivities involved. We have people coming in, trickling from time to time, the instability there, and, how we see it impacting on us.
It's about us contemplating a meeting to look at the Haiti issue. So I don't know I think I would prefer for us to, and then have the ministry prepare, because we really want to go. What we are discussing here is part of fixing it.
They're fixing it, so,
right. Yes. So we will decide now on a tentative date.
And Central St. James MP Heroy Clark defended the lack of meetings. He reminded his fellow members that the IEAC was envisioned as a reactive committee.
Internal-external committee is really a more reactive than a proactive one, in the sense that most time it is a situation that arises that we have to deal with. In the terms of we mentioning Haiti, we are proactive enough to set a date to deal with that situation. So it tends sometimes to have us not meeting as often as a PAC or a PAAC. So we just want to bear that in mind. But I do agree with him that Parliament, the website itself, these are committee meetings that can readily, the information that is shared here, can readily be uploaded on parliamentary website for students and Jamaicans on a whole to get the information just the same.
Sean Campbell for Nationwide News.
Education and Youth Minister Favour Williams says lands are still being identified for the construction of science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM schools across the island. The minister provided the update at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister.
As you are aware, the Prime Minister some time ago announced that we would have 6 STEM schools and 1 performing arts school. 2 of the STEM schools would be in each county. We have started by identifying lands in 2 of the counties, and we've actually, for the one in St. Catherine, we've actually made payment for the land, and we're going through that process of titling and so on. And other activities are underway in terms of design work.
Favour Williams, the Minister of Education. The 6 new STEM schools or academies form part of the government's plan to transform Jamaica's education system. The first institution is to be constructed in St. Ann.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Limited, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
A severe drought has led to power cuts in Ecuador, which relies on hydroelectrical sources for much of its power. Energy companies published a schedule of power cuts which has seen the capital, Quito, and other major cities go without electricity for hours. The drought has already led to water rationing in neighboring Colombia. The lack of rain in the region has been linked to the El Niño weather pattern. On Monday, power companies in Ecuador announced power cuts lasting between 2 and 5 hours to ensure less electricity was used. The Energy Ministry said Ecuador's power system had been affected by several unprecedented situations, including a drought, increased temperatures, and minimum water levels. He warned there were no short-term solutions to solve the country's energy crisis. The power shortage has been made worse by Colombia's decision to halt its export of energy to Ecuador in order to prioritize its own needs during the drought.
And heavy rain has been battering Gulf states, causing flash floods that have killed 20 people and disrupted flights at the world's second busiest airport. Dubai International Airport says it's facing very challenging conditions and has advised passengers not to turn up as the runways were inundated with water. The United Arab Emirates experienced on Tuesday its largest rainfall event since records began 75 years ago. Footage from the center of Dubai showed dozens of submerged vehicles on a flooded road, as well as long traffic jams on a 12-lane highway.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Limited, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories in nationwide news at this hour. A prominent Spanish Town-based medical doctor is in the custody of the police tonight after he was arrested on Monday in connection with the police's effort to dismantle the notorious Klansman gang.
Senate President Tom Tavares Finson says there's no lingering animosity between the heads of the Houses of Parliament and retired clerk Valerie Curtis.
And Senator Tom Tavares Finson also defended the decision not to recommend a second extension for Miss Curtis.
I was of the view that the Parliament needs a new and more progressive approach to the administration.
Victims of the multi-billion-dollar fraud at SSL will have to wait longer for their stolen money to be recovered.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is advising members of the public to take precautions against smoke inhalation associated with the fire at the Riverton landfill. Persons with respiratory illness such as asthma and other vulnerable groups, including pregnant women, are urged to limit exposure by reducing outdoor activities. Closing windows and doors is recommended until the air quality improves. Caregivers must look out for signs of difficulty breathing and irritation to the eyes, nose, and throat distress among infants, children, and the elderly. Members of the public must seek medical attention if experiencing shortness of breath, excessive coughing, wheezing, or tightness in the chest, and those on medication should continue to take them as prescribed.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Trinidad and Tobago Red 4 staged a remarkable recovery to reach 284 for 6 at sports time on day 1 of the 7th round regional 4-day encounter against the Jamaica Scorpions at Sabina Park. The Red Force were 84 for 3 at lunch, and the recovery has been led by Captain Joshua De Silva, who is not out on 99, and Naveen Bedesi, 31. They put on 92 runs for the 7th wicket. Amir Jangu, 51, and Kejorn Otley, 45, also scored well against Captain Pete Salmon, 2 wickets. Over at Coolidge, Barbados Pride were bowled out for 153 by the West Indies Academy. Jonathan Drake's 33 top scored against the 3 wickets each from John Lane and McKenny Clark. The West Indies Academy closed on 111 for 4 in response. Over at Queen's Park Oval, Mikhail Louis slammed his 3rd century of the season, exactly 100 runs, to steer the Leeward Islands Hurricanes to 300 all-out against the Windward Islands Volcanoes. Joel Andrew, 68, and Jamar Hamilton, 34, also scored well against Ryan Johns, 3 wickets. The Volcanoes closed on 6 for 1 in reply, while in St. Augustine, champions the Guyana Harpy Eagles reached 114 for 1, and they're replying to 200 all-out made by the combined campuses and colleges team. The 3-match women's one-day international series between West Indies and Pakistan bowl off tonight, Caribbean time, at the National Bank Stadium in Karachi. The game is set to bowl off at 11:30 p.m. Caribbean time. The series forms part of the ICC Women's Championships, where Pakistan are 5th in the points table with 16 points from 18 games. West Indies are 9th with 8 points from 9 games. The top 5 sides, along with hosts India, earn a direct qualification for the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup in 2025. The West Indies, they have a significant advantage over Pakistan in the one-day international format, 24 wins and 10 losses in their 34 previous meetings. In addition to the 3 one-day internationals, the teams will also face off in 5 T20 games. There will be new champions of the European Champions League this season after record winners Real Madrid beat last year's title holders Manchester City on penalties at the Etihad in the second leg of their quarter-final tie. Goals by Rodrigo and Kevin De Bruyne meant the teams were locked up at 1 apiece at the end of regular and extra time, and 4-all over the 2 legs. In the penalty shootout, Real held their nerve better to come away 4-3 winners and into the semi-finals.
Antonio Rudiger to send Real Madrid through. Revenge! The sweetest revenge for Real Madrid. Shredded in Manchester last year. Celebrating in Manchester tonight. Real Madrid are Champions League semi-finalists for the 12th time in 14 seasons. Generations of success.
Arsenal were knocked out in the quarterfinals for the fourth time in their last 5 appearances by German giants Bayern Munich, who won 1-0 at the Allianz Arena in Munich. Joshua Kimmich scored a bullet header on minute 63 to send the 6-time champions through 3-1 aggregate and into the semi-finals to face Real Madrid.
Wide it comes to Sané, who's looking to hit the byline. Raya got a touch on it. It's come here to Guerrero. Stands up a good cross. Kimmich with the goal. Really good header. But what a cross to pick him out. And with a little over an hour gone, it's Bayern in front at the Allianz Arena.
So it will be Real Madrid against the team from the team that won this other semi-final, Bayern Munich, and then in the other semi-final it will be Borussia Dortmund from Germany, and they'll take on the French champions, that's Paris Saint-Germain. So 2 German teams in the semi-finals. Finally, in sports at this time, Urban Area Schools won all 4 finals of the ISA All-Ireland Table Tennis Finals at the GC Foster College today. In the boys under-19 final, Wolmer's beat Titchfield 4-1, while Jamaica College blanked Titchfield 5-0 in the under-16 category. In the girls category, Wolmer's seniors retained their title. They beat St. Mary High 3-0, while among the juniors, Immaculate Conception defeated St. Hilda's by 3-1. Clive Grossett is coach of Wolmer's boys and girls.
I think the boys were a little stronger, although we won 4-1. For the girls, like I said before, they are players, so it is important that they just stay relaxed, stay focused, follow the simple instructions, and we become champion. For the boys, the principle remains the same. Your players, we just encourage them to do what they do best in a relaxed manner and execute so you can become champion. That's what we did today.
Clive Gossett, coach of JC Evan Williams, says they were never pressured.
They play true to form. The truth is that they are a super team. They have a massive advantage over the other teams. We have 4 national representatives on a 5-man team. That's a tremendous advantage. So they play true to form. They deliver the goods. They've done extremely well. We have been working for a long time, serious training, a year-long plan, and also we have a solid group of players outside of that.
That's the coach of the Jamaica College team in the table tennis, Evan Williams. We're trying to see if Joshua De Silva got to his 100 against the Jamaica Scorpions at Sabina Park for the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. So he was 99 when we were coming to studio. In our next sportscast, a major sportscast at 6:05, we'll tell you if he has gotten the 100 or not. But for now, it's sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hyundai, the home of modern premium affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:32.
You didn't know that the government decreased JUTC bus fares? Yes, it's now 70 for adults, 25 for children, and 30 for pensioners. And in April, fares will go down even further to 50 for adults, 20 for children, and 25 for pensioners.
The temperature by the office of the Prime Minister is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 29 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Variety is the spice of life. That's not just true for entertainment, it's true for investing too. While stocks, bonds, and cash are effective, there are other credible investment options out there. These are alternative investments, ranging from digital options like cryptocurrencies to old school investments like gold, real estate, and private equity. You can invest on your own or via a fund with a curated portfolio of investment options.
Visit barita.com/opportunities for more growth coach insights.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply. Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, meet a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Taboo topics. Voyagings after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss.
Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boyatings After Dark.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Well, in our cover story this afternoon, there's been a development in our lead story at 5 when we told you about that prominent medical doctor in the custody of the police tonight being arrested on Monday following investigations into his involvement with members of the notorious Klansman gang. Well, within the last half an hour, the police have named him. He is Dr. Paul Orlando Robinson. Paul Orlando Robinson. He was picked up by the police at his office on Monday. Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, Fitz Bailey, provided this update a few moments ago.
As the police continues its anti-gang effort, I wish to confirm that Dr. Paul Orlando Robinson, aged 65 years old, medical doctor who operates somewhere in the Young Street area of Spanish Town, was arrested by the police, CTOC to be specific, on reasonable suspicion of breach of the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organization Act. His arrest emanated from the ongoing investigation into the Tesha Miller-led fraction of this Klans gang regarding provision of services made to the criminal underworld. He appeared on an ID parade today and was pointed out by 2 witnesses. He will be processed and the formal charges laid later on today or tomorrow.
That's Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey. 22 members of the St. Catherine-based Klansman gang have been arrested and charged under the anti-gang legislation and other serious offenses. These include murder, conspiracy to murder, robbery, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition. The men, including the alleged leader of the One Don faction of the gang, Tesha Miller, are to return to the home circuit court in downtown Kingston on Thursday.
So just repeating, if you're joining us, 23 minutes going up to 6, the police have named the doctor who they have apprehended and arrested in connection with his involvement with the notorious Klansman gang of Spanish Town. This was how the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, Fitz Bailey, made the announcement moments ago.
As the police continues its anti-gang effort, I wish to confirm that Dr. Paul Orlando Robinson, aged 65 years old, medical doctor who operates somewhere in the Young Street area of Spanish Town, was arrested by the police, CTOC to be specific, on reasonable suspicion of breach of the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organization Act. His arrest emanated from the ongoing investigation into the Tesha Miller-led fraction of this Klans gang regarding provision of services made to the criminal underworld. He appeared on an ID parade today and was pointed out by 2 witnesses. He will be processed and the formal charges laid later on today or tomorrow.
So, reasonable suspicion of breaches of the Criminal Justice Act. And he's going to be charged tomorrow. There was another incident of note today, Siobhan. the incident in Central Plaza in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew, in which a policeman was shot and injured during an attempted robbery at a phone and electronics store. The police have just issued a statement on that incident, and the new information they have issued, they say that a female was involved in the robbery attempt. Investigators are currently, they say, seeking a female who was involved in the incident and is also linked to other robberies in recent times. They are actively pursuing those responsible for this robbery and other similar incidents in the area. The public is being urged to provide any information that they may have regarding this incident by calling Crime Stop at 311, Police Emergency at 119, the NIB tip line at 811, or the nearest police station. So that is the new bit of information. The police say a female was involved in that attempted robbery in Central Plaza in Halfway Tree this afternoon. And of course, the police constable shot in that incident is undergoing treatment in hospital for his injuries. Yes, and of course, the police in Halfway Tree say at about 11:20 this morning, yes, 20 minutes after 11, the officer entered the store while the robbery was underway. Upon seeing him, one of the armed robbers fired at the policeman, who took evasive action and returned fire. The assailants managed to escape from the area. The owner of the store was stabbed during the incident and had to seek medical attention. Yes, the investigators suspect that one of the robbers was shot and injured during the exchange. Was it the female or the male? We don't know.
In both instances, quite a few questions left from these police statements that will require answering in the coming days, and hopefully we'll get those answers.
Yeah, so those are the late-breaking developments as we come on air. Yes, we're going to switch gears after the break and go to the parliamentary committees chaired by government not doing the job as the Prime Minister promised they would have done. Yes, that's after the break.
Live exquisite this year with new arrival black and chrome fixtures for your home at Unique Living. Select from a wide variety of rain shower systems, fabulous faucets, and stylish sinks to suit your kitchen and bathrooms. Get uncompromised quality and style unique to you. Shop everything new at Unique Living, Jamaica's leading shower and faucets provider. Visit shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call 876-755-3661 to 2.
When I grow up, I'm going to be a famous gamer with viral videos all over the internet. I'm going to be rich! Good thing I'll already know how to take care of my money since Mommy got me this Sure Start account.
Open a CIBC Caribbean Sure Start account for your kids and give them a head start on financial smarts with a $1,200 sign-up bonus from us. We believe in their dreams as much as you do, so let's get them going together. Start young, start strong with Sure Start from CIBC.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, be it a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:44. Welcome back. As Mr. Hughes said, we are switching over now to the Parliament, where concerns are being raised about the Holness administration's failure to hold regular meetings of several government-chaired committees of Parliament. Shortly after sweeping the 2020 general elections, Prime Minister Holness broke with the previously established convention of having various committees chaired by the opposition. The Prime Minister reasoned that his now significant parliamentary backbench need to be active in the affairs of Parliament.
What I intend to do, Madam Speaker, and I've already given direction to the House Leader, is that every single report from a statutory body that comes here must be assigned to the relevant sessional committee for that sessional committee to review it. So they will have work to do. I don't intend to have 49 members when we take off the executive and have this massive backbench sitting down in Parliament banging on desks. All of them will have work to do. All committees will be functional.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness shortly after 2020. Well, since then the number of committee meetings has fallen. Even those under the stewardship of the opposition. Its chaired Human Resource and Social Development Committees met 7 times. In 2023, under the Deputy House Speaker Heroy Clark, there were no committee meetings.
In 2019, the Internal and External Committee, whose purpose is to examine national security, justice, and foreign affairs issues, met only 3 times. In 2022, that committee, chaired by Government MP Franklin Witter, met only once, and it only met twice in 2023. When our news center reached out to Mr. Witter, he told us his members decide the agenda and frequency of meetings. He says his role as chairman does not allow him to unilaterally convene sittings.
That's how we approach it, and that's how we look at the issues that we want to discuss. We discussed last year, we discussed the issue as it relates to the crime issue and the SOE and so on. Members were satisfied with the response we get from the police and I think it was the Office of the Public Defender. So, and since then, crime has been trending down, so that would be a part of the whole consideration.
Franklin Witter, chairman of the Internal and External Affairs Committee. Well, meetings of the opposition-controlled Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, the PAAC, and the Public Accounts Committee, the PAC, have also fallen. The PAAC, which is chaired by Michael Phillips, met 22 times in 2019, but in 23, the committee sat for only 4 times. Phillips, in defending his chairmanship of the committee, blames a fall in sittings on the unwillingness of government MPs to attend the meetings. He raised a similar concern in the year before.
Opposition spokesman on finance and chairman of the PAC, Julian Robinson, similarly defended his stewardship. His committee met only twice in 2023. Further, founder of the Jamaica Accountability Meter portal, JAMP, Jeanette Calder, is now calling on the Prime Minister to hold his members and himself to account for the promises he made. She joins us now to discuss further, as well as the Member of Parliament for South St. Catherine, Fitzjackson, who sits on several of these committees. Good afternoon, Madam Calder. Sir Jackson.
Good afternoon, Siobhan, Cliff, your listeners.
Good afternoon, Siobhan, Cliff, and to your listeners. Good afternoon, Ms. Calder.
Welcome.
Let me hasten, if you may permit me, I do not sit on numerous committees, those for the records.
All right, you sit on several.
No, not several.
How many?
Either.
How many?
I was sitting on 2, and I recently become a member of a third one, the Economy and Production Committee. And I had to become a member because the Speaker of the House would not allow me to enjoin the committee to deal with the motion that I was referring to that committee.
Right.
And so we had to remove one of the PNP members to facilitate my getting on it.
Okay.
It was quite a battle.
All right, let me go to the non-parliamentarian, Jeanette Calder. What do you make of the reporting here, which really confirmed that based on what the Prime Minister said, no, that has not happened?
Well, first I want to say, Cliff, thanks to Mr. Campbell from your team for raising this again. Since 2020, when I think it was the first sitting of the House after the elections where the Prime Minister took this decision and did what I thought was an outstanding lecture, and I mean that in every way positive possible. I thought he was absolutely masterful, and I encourage every citizen, I'm going to post that link on every one of our platforms for every citizen who is interested to hear what the Prime Minister explained in terms of the role of parliamentarians as it relates to the oversight of government. And he explained something that I didn't know when I even started JAMP. Because if you watch Parliament, you never see it much in action. And what he told us then, which is relevant to this discussion, is it is the job of not the opposition. Let me put it a better way. I started out bad. It is not just the job of the opposition to hold the government members sitting in the House to account, to watch, to examine, and to grill. He said, and he was right, it's the job of every single parliamentarian that is not a part of the executive or the cabinet. It means a Tova Hamilton, a Robert Miller, a Crystal Lee, a Mr. Sibley's, all of them sitting behind the government have a responsibility also, and it was not just the opposition. And for many citizens in this country, Cliff, including myself, that's not something we're aware of. The name opposition is a terrible name. It sets up in the minds of citizens that the reason the PNP is in the House is to oppose the government and fight against them. No, that's not it. It's everybody's job to hold the executive to the account. And Mr. Holness did a great job. And on the back of it, he said, he has so many members, 49, that's not in the executive. And he doesn't want them just banging on the desks. And he said something that I think your clip missed, and I want to say it for those listening. Right before what you played, he said, the government reports are coming in. It's not just for ministries, it's for statutory agencies and bodies, and they come in on a regular basis. And these reports are sometimes, they're only being used to decorate some of our bookshelves. They're hardly ever read or reviewed. So I have given directions to the leader of the House that every single report coming from a statutory body must be assigned to a relevant committee so that they can review it. And I am here to say to you and the listeners, JAMP has kept abreast of this. When Siobhan called me yesterday, day before yesterday, I could tell him the date of this lecture because it was burnt in my mind. And I'm very disappointed, Cliff, because the Prime Minister was so right about the need for the oversight, and we have been counting. Last year, September, at the end of September, we looked back 12 months, simply because the Prime Minister said it in September of 2020, so we keep looking in that same period every 12 months, and 81 reports based on an entire long list that the Parliament sent me of reports that have gone in the last 12 months, 81 reports. And when we look, just as your news team did, at how many meetings have been kept, which was next to zero, I'm saying today that the Prime Minister made a decision to reverse a best practice, which the media and a number of citizens said is what he was doing, on the basis that he was committing to us that if the government members are in charge, this work would be done, and it is not being done. And so I'm very happy that Nationwide has raised it again, because when a parliament doesn't function well, government can't function well, and the people don't get what is in their best interest done for them.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Jackson, do you want to come in? Because I've noted that at least 2 occasions now you've raised this issue where a committee has only sat once for a year at most.
Yes, in fact, the Internal and External Affairs Committee meeting, I will tell you, those 3 meetings that it had, it was on my urging. The last one we had today, I have been seeking to have this meeting from December of last year. And it's only because of continuously insisting that we finally got a date, first for the 9th of this month, and then it was shifted to today. From December, and at today's meeting, that has 2 opposition members and I think 7 government members. Apart from the chairman, there was only 1 other government member there. Right? And that was the minimum amount for a quorum that caused that meeting to take place today, being 3. The chairman, 1 government member, and myself. We dealt primarily with the Samoa agreement, which I requested and pleaded for from December. Why? Because many issues arising out of that agreement were of public interest and concern. And persons have approached me in the broader society about their concerns, hence my also urging the chairman to convene this meeting. Against what was said in your preview and what Ms. Calder just said, the Samoa agreement was signed in December 15th or 12th thereabout last year, and there was no move at all to engage a committee to review it. And as I said to the PS in the Parliament, coming to the committee to review a document like that and its provision is not only for the members of the committee or the members of Parliament. It's for the public's benefit, so that they know and understand many of these provisions, how it relates to them, how their own interests can be furthered through these provisions, among others. In respect of the Economy and Production Committee, there is 2 government opposition members and 7 government members. When I tabled that motion regarding the ATM machines and the monies being lost in commercial banks, right? It took me over 3 weeks to get the Speaker's approval for it to be tabled. And in that same originally draft motion, where I requested approval of the Parliament for me to sit in the committee only during the deliberations on that motion that I was tabling, not even a full-fledged membership throughout, but just to enjoy the full privilege of a member on the committee with a 72 ratio. The Speaker rejected it and said he would not approve the motion unless I strike that out. I did.
Mr. Jackson, but on the reporting being done here, those committees that are still chaired by the opposition have not distinguished themselves.
But look, we're talking about two of how many?
Well, the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee and the Public Accounts Committee, both of which are chaired by the opposition.
Okay.
And they have not distinguished themselves.
Well,
they've also had decline in meetings.
Yes, and decline, and I can say they have met more frequently than all the others chaired by the government members.
Oh, so you're saying the government setting the bar for you?
No, they're not setting the bar.
Oh, you compare them with them.
Bar that nobody should measure themselves against.
Precisely.
But in respect of the PAC, though, Cliff, remember that the PAC meets to consider reports from the Auditor General report, right? Or any special report that comes from the Auditor General. In the case of the PAAC, which I also happen to sit on, right? And we do better than all the other government members. We struggle to get dates for us to meet. That's part of our reality. And this argument about new parliament in order to get space to meet, for committees to meet, is a red herring. Why do I say that? During COVID, right, we meet outside of the Parliament building. I once chaired that same Economy and Production Committee, and by a mere moving of a motion in the House, the committee can convene anywhere in Jamaica.
Jeanette Calder, is that convincing to you, based on what we're hearing from Mr.
I
Jackson?
can tell you the Prime Minister, again, worth hearing everything, he was not accepting of that as a reason back in 2020 when the opposition mounted the argument about the chamber, only one room to meet in. The Prime Minister himself said, I'm going to reject that as a reason. So if the government members have taken over the chair, and government members are now saying it's because we only have one chamber, I'm going to quote my Prime Minister and say that's not good enough a reason. And I've said earlier this morning the very same thing that Mr. Jackson said, that during COVID, as a matter of fact, Cliff, the very speech on the part of the Prime Minister took place down at the conference center. Mm-hmm. Which is exactly our point, and civil society has been saying it for a very long time. Surely we're not going to be able to solve corruption and crime if we can't figure out how to rent an extra room for the people's business to be done. It's a very simple solution, and it can't be about cost. We are paying an extra $1 billion on the parliamentary budget. Do you know why? Because we doubled the salaries of parliamentarians. And as I've said this morning, you would think that our parliamentarians would say, boy, you know, the country, the majority of the people in the country never feel so good about this, you know, maybe how we went about it, maybe even what we do. So you know what? Make we take a little shame out of the government eye. Maybe the next 3 months, maybe the next 6 months. Make we show up. Make we turn up. Make we do a little better. It hasn't made a difference. A case in point, though, Cliff, and I want your listeners to understand, because from the get-go, I had a difficulty with the Prime Minister's decision. I understood the problem. I support him 100%. But there are 12 sessional committees, and at the time, and I think 6 were chaired by the government and 6 were chaired by the opposition. But if you looked at the record back then, Cliff, you would find there was no data to suggest that the government-chaired sessional committees were meeting more often than the one chaired by the opposition. You understand the point I'm making, Cliff?
Yes.
So I'm saying I feel that the Prime Minister was spot on. He understands how important these committees are. We have 146 public bodies. We, the people, own them. About 59 are self-financing. When they make money, Cliff, they pump that profit back into the coffers for the public, you know. They have to do well.
Yes.
Some of them, we finance all of them.
Well,
these reports come in. If nobody's looking at them, they don't do as well as they should.
We're out of time, Jeanette Calder,
It's a pity. This is an
Fitz-Jackson.
extremely important matter.
But I should tell, let me tell the listeners at the same time. Some of you have been asking, where is the government side in this? Well, we did try, yes, and we just could not get anyone to represent the government side in this.
You know the reason why?
No. Why?
The reason why is because they sought to have the chairmanship only to shut down the committees so that the least oversight can take place of what the government does.
Yes. Siobhan, you were about to say.
That was their mission, which they are trying to succeed on.
I was just highlighting what Mr. Hughes said, that we reached out to not only the leader of government business, Edmund Bartlett, but we also reached out to Juliet Holness, the House Speaker, the Deputy House Speaker, Heroy Clark, as well as several of the committee chairmen that sit for the government, and we could not get a single one to come on.
Right. And in many instances, the Speaker of the House, in many instances, chairs most of these before and now. And just an exercise for the citizens, we have 6 parliamentary commissions. Call the Parliament and ask when these reports, these very important commissions who report back to Parliament, when these reports come, ask the Clerk of the House, where are they assigned? And the answer is to nobody. The Children's Advocate, that's a commission. The Public Defender, Electoral Commission, just not assigned.
Well, I have to be,
deeper than we realize.
Jeanette, they hold me accountable here. So I have to go for the headlines at 6. Okay, that's a cover story.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan, and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Prominent medical doctor Paul Robinson, who operates in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been arrested by the police following investigations into his alleged involvement with members of the notorious Klansman gang. Head of the JCF's crime portfolio, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey, provided an update a short while ago.
As the police continues its anti-gang effort, I wish to confirm that Dr. Paul Alondo Robinson, aged 65 years old, medical doctor who operates somewhere in the Young Street area of Spanish Town, was arrested by the police, CTOC to be specific, on reasonable suspicion of breach of the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organization Act. His arrest emanated from the ongoing investigation into the Tesha Miller-led fraction of this Klans gang regarding provision of services made to the criminal underworld. He appeared on an ID parade today and was pointed out by 2 witnesses. He will be processed and the formal charges laid later on today or tomorrow.
DCP Fitz Bailey, head of the JCF's crime portfolio. A policeman was shot and injured during an attempted robbery at a phone and electronics store in Central Plaza in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew on Wednesday afternoon. The store owner was also injured in the incident that reportedly occurred minutes after 1 p.m. Head of the St. Andrew Central Division, Senior Superintendent Marlon Nesbeth, says the police are on the hunt for the robbers.
2 perpetrators, when they are female and a male. The owner of the store was able to, in the process, hold on to the male who had the gun. Subsequently, he managed to get away from the proprietor, and some shooting started to intrude one of our own, a policeman who turned up as a customer. There's some injury to the proprietor, not through gunshot wounds, but as the tussle ensued, the policeman himself is being treated for presently. We are trying to locate the robbers as we speak. We have some good leads to try to pursue.
SSP Marlon Nesbeth, head of the St. Andrews Central Police Division. Minister of State for National Security Juliet Cuthbert Flynn says there has been an 8% increase in the seizure of illegal guns as of March 2024 compared to the corresponding period last year.
Since the start of this year, 2024, up to March, the end of March, 244 illegal firearms were seized, representing an increase of approximately 8% compared to 2023 for the same period. The data indicates that these illegal firearms are not just accessible to criminals, but firearms are the weapon of choice for criminals, and in particular criminal gang networks, as they feature approximately 84% of murders committed in our country, Jamaica.
She says recent government legislation has been implemented with the intent to restrict the flow of illegal guns and ammunition across the Jamaica's borders.
The illicit trafficking and proliferation of firearms continue to be a matter of national concern, which has demanded a comprehensive response involving a mixture of legislation, policy, and also operational improvements. At the national level, steps have also been taken to strengthen the legislative framework governing the regulations of firearm and ammunition through the passage of the new Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulations Act in 2022. This piece of legislation is one of the most significant advancements made to curb the illicit trafficking and proliferation of firearms and ammunition in our country.
Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Minister of State for National Security. President of the Senate, Tom Tavares Finson, says there is no lingering animosity between the heads of the Houses of Parliament and retired clerk Valerie Curtis.
The Speaker and the former clerk do not have a poisonous relationship. They do not. I have no animosity towards Miss Curtis. I'm the one that recommended her to take over the role of Speaker from the former clerk, Miss Heather Cook. I'm the one that recommended her for her national honor, the national honor that she received from this government. I am the one that recommended her on termination of her service at 65, that should be given an additional 2 years. So I have no animosity towards Mrs. Curtis. And I know that the Speaker has no animosity towards her, but that does not mean that she is beyond reproach.
He says a letter of reprimand issued to Ms. Curtis by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, represents a situation that happens from time to time in both the private sector and the government. He says the letter is not evidence that there is any existing or prevailing bitterness towards Ms. Curtis.
And it is important to point out, because a person works with an organization for many years, in this particular instance over 30 years, does not mean that that person is beyond reproach if there is an infraction that the presiding officer is of the view warrants such a reprimand. Long service is something that we admire and we recognize, but it does not put a person beyond reproach. That does not work in the public sector, nor does it work in the private sector.
Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, be it a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. When you're good, you're just good. Hey, had the national flavor. You go want to buy this pack. So good, it's just so good. Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top. So crisp, so light, so buttery. National Baking Company, just so good.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds. Like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
A mother's journey of love shared from generation to generation gives her the ultimate relaxation and escape to Adam and Eve Day Spa and Salon for a mommy-made new experience. Book now at www.adamandevespaja.com. Purchase gift certificates or call 876-754-6017. Get mom the perfect gift of love. This Mother's Day, let Team Adam and Eve take her on a spa journey. She deserves it.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Captain Joshua De Silva slammed his fifth first-class century to lead a Trinidad and Tobago Red Force fight back at close on day one of their seventh-round four-day regional encounter against the Jamaica Scorpions at Sabina Park. Da Silva hit 106 of 140 deliveries as the Red Force recovered from 86 for 3 to reach 308 for 7 at stumps on a rain-affected day. Da Silva also starred in a 7-wicket stand of 92 with Naveen Bedesi, who weighed in with 31. Amir Jangu, 51, and Kejon Otley, 45, also scored well against Captain Pete Salmon and Jivoy Royal, 2 wickets apiece. Over at Coolidge, Barbados Pride were bowled out for 153 by the West Indies Academy. Jonathan Drakes, 33, top scored against the 3 wickets each from John Lane and McKinney Clark. The West Indies Academy closed on a 111 for 4 in reply. Over at the Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain, Mikhail Louis slammed his third century of the season, exactly 100, to steer the Leeward Islands Hurricanes to 300 all out against the Windward Islands Volcanoes. Joel Andrews, 68, and Jamar Hamilton, 34, also scored well against Ryan John, 3 wickets. The Volcanoes closed on 6 for 1. And in St. Augustine, the champions Guyana Harpy Eagles, they reached 114 for 1 at close, replying to 200 all out made by the combined campuses and colleges team. The 3-match women's one-day international series between West Indies and Pakistan bowls off tonight Caribbean time at the National Bank Stadium in Karachi. The game is set to bowl off at 11:30 p.m. Caribbean time. The series forms a part of the ICC Women's Championship, where Pakistan are 5th in the points table with 16 points from 18 games, whereas the West Indies are 9th with 8 points from 9 games. The top 5 sides, along with the host country India, will earn direct qualification to the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup 2025. The West Indies have a significant advantage over Pakistan in the one-day international format, with 24 wins against 10 losses in their 34 previous meetings. In addition to the 3 one-day internationals, the teams will also face off in 5 T20 games. Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley will later this month chair a conference on West Indies cricket, which is aimed at securing the commitment of major stakeholders to advancing the game at all levels. Entitled Reinvigorating West Indies Cricket, a symposium for strategic collaboration and innovation, the conference will be jointly hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago government and regional nation grouping CARICOM, and will engage topics such as the strategic direction of Cricket West Indies, the development of cricket, and cricket and tourism. Dr. Rowley is the current chairman of the CARICOM Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on Cricket and has been one of the main proponents of governance reform in Cricket West Indies. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira says this is not the first time such a meeting has been staged. In fact, he says is less than optimistic that this meeting will bear fruit.
Over a decade ago, such a meetings were held in Trinidad where some of the greats who were still alive attended. They gave contributions, but nothing ever came out of that meeting. So we're going back to Trinidad in a few weeks, and let us see if in fact questions will be asked. I know the West Indies Board has put out their program for the future even before the meeting of the CARICOM leaders, which surprises me. But I hope that the CARICOM leaders have been well briefed and will ask questions about the cricket committee, the lack of a selection committee, what are the plans for our team going to England in July.
Joseph Reds Pereira. Kingston College and Excelsior will contest the final of the urban area ISA GK Insurance Schoolboy T20 cricket competition at Melbourne on Friday. Excelsior booked their place in the championship game with a 10-wicket win over St. George's College today. Batting first, St. George's, they were skittled out for 6-6 inside 19 overs. Michael Francis 18 and Giovanni Gray 16 made most runs against Tamari Redwood 3 wickets. Excelsior chased down the total and they got it inside 5 overs. David Dewar made an unbeaten 60 and Jamar Daly 8 not out. Meanwhile, KC beat St. Catherine High by 22 runs in their semi-final, chasing 174 to win. St. Catherine were restricted to 153 for 6 in their 20 overs. Earlier, KC made 174 for 4 of their 20 overs. There have been new champions of the European Champions League this season after the record winners, Real Madrid, beat last year's title holders Manchester City on penalties at the Etihad in the second leg of their quarter-final tie today. Goals by Rodrigo and Kevin De Bruyne meant the teams were locked up at 1 apiece at the end of regular and extra time and 4-4 over the 2 legs. In the penalty shootout, Real held their nerve better and they came away 4-3 winners and into the semi-finals.
Antonio Rudiger to send Real Madrid through. Revenge! The sweetest revenge for Real Madrid! Shredded in Manchester last year, celebrating in Manchester tonight. Real Madrid are Champions League semi-finalists for the 12th time in 14 seasons. Generations of success.
Arsenal were knocked out in the quarterfinals for the 4th time in their last 5 appearances by German giants Bayern Munich, who won 1-0 at the Allianz today. Joshua Kimmich scored a bullet header on minute 63 to send the 6-time champions through 3-1 aggregate and into the semi-finals for a date with Real Madrid.
Wide it comes to Sané, who's looking to hit the byline. Raya got a touch on it. It's come here to Guerrero. Stands up a good cross. Kimmich with the goal. Really good header. But what a cross to pick him out. And with a little over an hour gone, it's Bayern in front of the Allianz Arena.
All right, let me say this. I'm out, yes, but City and Man U people cannot talk to me. All right, let me just put that there. Urban Area Schools won all 4 finals of the Isa All-Ireland Table Tennis Finals at the G.C. Foster College today. In the boys under 19 final, Wolmer's beat Titchfield 4-1. J.C. blanked Titchfield also 5-0 in the under 16 category. That should be 5-love. In the girls category, Wolmer's seniors, they retained their title. They beat St. Mary High 3-love, while among the juniors, Immaculate Conception defeated St. Hilda's by 3-1. Clive Grosset is the coach of the Wolmer's boys and girls teams.
I think the boys were a little stronger, although we won 4-1. For the girls, like I said before, they are players, so it is important that they just stay relaxed, stay focused, follow the simple instructions, and we'll become champion. For the boys, the principle remains the same. Your players, we just encourage them to do what they do best in a relaxed manner and execute so you can become champion. That's what we did today.
As Clive Gross, head coach of JC, Evan Williams, says they were never under any pressure.
They play true to form. The truth is that they are a super team. They have a massive advantage over the other teams. We have 4 national representatives on a 5-man team. That's a tremendous advantage. So they play true to form. They deliver the goods. They've done extremely well. We have been working for a long time, serious training, a year-long plan, and also we have a solid group of players outside of that.
That's Evan Williams. Finally, Steph Curry will make his Olympic debut for the USA after he was named in a 12-man roster for this summer's Olympic Games in Paris. LeBron James, the NBA all-time leading point scorer, will play at the Games for the first time since London 2012. Kevin Durant is seeking to make history by becoming the first male athlete to win 4 gold medals in basketball. Joel Embiid, the NBA's reigning most valuable player, has also been included. James leads the Lakers into the NBA playoffs. The US are aiming to improve on a disappointing 4th place at last year's Basketball World Cup. They've won 16 Olympic gold medals in the sport, and they've been the champions at each game since 2004. Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors will be the head coach, and he'll be assisted by Mark Few, Gozang University, Tyrone Lue from the LA Clippers, and Eric Spoelstra, the coach of Miami Heat. The other members of the team are Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, Kawhi Leonard, and Jason Tatum. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs, from luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
Celebrate 25 years with IQ Optical, your trusted eyewear provider. Enjoy 25% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses, April 9th to 20th. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical New Kingston, Metapark, or Drexel. Conditions apply.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to 50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies, or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. My name is Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you for always tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. It's one that, has been on the minds of many since morning. Yeah, man. State Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Orlando Terrelong, says he regrets the pictures on his Instagram account that blocked out the faces of former Prime Ministers P.J. Patterson and Portia Simpson Miller. Now, the controversial images have drawn widespread criticism. The pictures showed Minister Terrelong in discussion with 2 members of the diaspora at the Jamaican High Commission in London. In the background were 5 portraits, each displaying photos of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, the late former Prime Minister Edward Seaga, and former Prime Ministers P.J. Patterson, Portia Simpson Miller, and Bruce Golding. Now, an emoji
with the Jamaican flag was used to block the images of Mr. Patterson and Mrs. Simpson Miller. The editing of these images, well, has caused controversy. Mr. Terry Long, in a move to clarify the posts, issued a statement on X that was accompanied by a picture of himself and Mrs. Simpson Miller smiling. Now, the State Minister says he did not make the posts and adds that they were not in keeping with his style of posting. Mr. Terry Long says he was advised that the stories were posted by one of his team members who has access to his social media accounts. According to Mr. Terry Long, he instructed the team member to immediately remove the content. The State Minister also disclosed that he has rescinded the team member's access to his social media accounts. A lot to take in there. So in Public Opinion today, we're putting it to you. What's your reaction to the controversial pictures posted on Minister Orlando Terry Long's Instagram? If you did not see it, I read it out just now. I explained it in detail as it relates to what happened. Then you can comment if you're on our YouTube platform. Rosalie Wright on Facebook says, let me see if I can go through all this. Go have a look at the wall at the Manchester Parish Council. It's alleged that none of the current JLP officials that should be there are there. All right. Okay. Let me see if I can get some in. Winston says, wasn't it the same PNP who removed the green from the national flag during a civic function in Montego Bay a few years ago? All right. Philip Jackson says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart... Oh, you're quoting a scripture here, Philip Jackson. Ecclesiastes 8, verse 11. Okay. Set in them to do evil. Wow. All right. Arvelyn Beckford says, as a people, we should be mindful of the people who paved the way for us and honor their contributions to our country. There are some politicians who are so political that they forget that there's life after politics. Both parties have made contributions to the development of our country. Rosalind Buck believes the circus continues. Edney Powell says it should never happen. We need to live past those behavior. Remember, bad publicity can help your opponent, and this one backfired. All right. Natalie Winter says she no see it, so she not a comment. All right, big up yourself, Natalie Winter. Paul Stewart says that is petty. Them do worse than that to Siaga. Oh, okay, wow. All right, let me see if I can go to the comments on our Instagram platform. Now, bear with me because some of these comments, I can't read them per ear, Willie Ryan Wilson says he lied about not knowing about the post and needs to apologize. It was distasteful and just shows what the JLP is made of. Patroy Seal says Minister Terry Long accepted responsibility, gave the reason it happened, and I applaud him for that. Okay. And the post was removed when it was brought to his attention. That's coming from Patroy Seal, rather. Let me see if I can get in some more. The Rebel Lady K say he has put out a statement explaining what happened and the steps that had been taken, which I accept. Tomorrow is a new day. Prince Edward is saying that we need to move past political tribalism. It's 2024. Mac Land Andrew believes it was nasty and vulgar. Okay. Let me see if I can get in someone. Bless and highly favor say he apologized for his team mishap. Ambitious say if you leave the man alone. Okay. Wayne Robinson says, listen up, I'm a supporter of this administration. However, for quite a while, I have been turned off by utterance. All right, let me get this straight. I am a supporter of this administration. However, for quite a while, I have been turned off by utterances of some of the JLP politicians, seemingly making themselves redundant. It's amazing how the party have allowed nonchalant behavior to step into the administration, and he says that it is very disappointing. All right, let me see if I can get in some on our X platform real quick. Let me see. Terry Long should resign. That's coming from Steve Blueblood.
Okay, he's responsible. We can't tolerate this type of behavior from government minister. DJ says it's totally wrong, but there are so many talking points to highlight than that. All right. Okay, to each his own opinion. Let me see if I can get in some more. Tracy Ann McLean says Terry Long is a hard-working minister. It is obvious this is not his doing. Let us move on now. Bad news. The buck stopped with the junior minister. The post was up for 14 hours before it was taken down. The individual who posted the picture wouldn't have done it if he knew the minister would endorse it. Oh, wow. Okay. And he believes that it is classless. Moving to the comments on our YouTube platform. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion. What's your reaction to the controversial pictures posted on Minister Orlando Terrelong's Instagram page? Errol Scott on YouTube said, I see nothing wrong with it. I see nothing wrong with it. Okay, Hermine said they can paint their face for all I care. Okay, wow. Lorraine Young is of the view that it no look good, but I don't think the minister did it. The minister know better than that. All right, and Student for Life is questioning resign for what? Let me see if I can get. Carlene Smith says disrespectful. How could Mr. Terrelong go so low? His team member knows what he stands for. Alex Smith says nothing about this post beat removing the green of the Jamaican flag. Patricia, I believe Terrelong. Glenn says, I don't support divisive politics by any ministers, but to be honest, PJ can go with the 18 years missing of Jamaica history. Okay, wow. Let me see if the way you say it, not concern you, Bali. It don't concern you. It don't concern you. Let me see if I can get in some more on this one. Precious Soul say everything on the talk about resign. Captain J says Terry Long done long time. Okay. Let me see. Bowen is saying you bet what now? You bet you speak for me, Bowen? Ursuline Bowen, you speak for me? I did not come here to hear no YouTubers namming up Terry Long. No, I didn't. Every side did the same thing. I'm here to hear the views of the people. That's why it's called public opinion. Let me see if I can get in some more comments from the public. Errol Scott says, you is not a supporter. You are, I don't know what that means. You're a liar. Who you're referring to there, Errol Scott? To each his own opinion, you know. I'm not shying away from anybody's opinion. If you have your opinion, you're entitled to it. New Willie 1 says it should never happen. And Precious Soul said the man say him never post it. And she's questioning, so what? The man said him never post it. So, okay. A lot of comments coming in on this one. And to each his own. Me nah bash nobody, you know? It's your opinion. It's your opinion. Let me see Leroy what he says. Can't understand how people keep talking what Atsiago went through. One of the biggest fight and pushback he got was from within the same Labour Party. All right, more things coming in about that. Lorraine Young is asking what's there to resign about. Okay, all right. Davy and Paddy, you know more than me, don't it? You know more than me, Davy and Paddy. But thank you guys so much for participating. We do have to go. It's now 6:32, but stay tuned for the business report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today. Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Motorists should see an increase at the pumps in the price of gasoline effective Thursday, April 18. That's tomorrow. And that's according to the latest ex-refinery costs from Petrojam. Now, 90 octane will see an increase of $2.59 per litre, and so too will 87 octane. Meanwhile, automotive diesel fuel will go down by $2.14 per litre, and ultra-low sulfur diesel will go down by $1.87 per litre. Kerosene will decrease by $2.34 per litre. Propane liquid petroleum will go down by $2.50 per litre, and butane liquid petroleum will decrease by $3.06 per litre. Further afield, U.S. President Joe Biden has called for a tripling of tariffs on some steel and aluminum from China. It is the latest protectionist policy to be embraced by President Biden as he campaigns for re-election against Donald Trump, who was known for his tough trade stance against China. The White House said the proposal was aimed at protecting U.S. jobs against unfair competition. China has previously denied claims of dumping steel and aluminum overseas. Dumping is selling excess product in another country for a very cheap price and can often decimate the local industry's own market of that product. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 156 Jamaican dollars and 43 cents to buy $1 US, 195 Jamaican dollars and 79 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 124 Jamaican dollars and 95 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Celebrate 25 years with IQ Optical, your trusted eyewear provider. Enjoy 25% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses. April 9th to 20th. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical New Kingston, Meadowpark, or Drexel. Conditions apply.
The Leaders Conference of Choice is back on site at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel and online. Register now for Middle Managers Leadership Conference. Call 876-978-60012 or visit www.makeyourmarkgroup.com. Sponsored by Make Your Mark Group, Caledonia Outdoor Advertising, Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, JPS, Intelligent Multimedia Limited, Monographic Printers, Main Event Entertainment Group, Nationwide News Network, and Visual Tech Solutions. Middle Managers Conference, May 1 to 2, 2024. Sign up at www.makeyourmarkgroup.com.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, be it a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
If you're into real estate, then you're going to love this. CliffViews Online will broadcast live from the second staging of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo, April 19 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. The expo will be from April 18 to 20. Hear expert presentations on April 18 and 19, then explore the Homeowners Expo on April 19 and 20 with giveaways, DJs, and live entertainment. It's the perfect outing for everyone, and the admission is free. That's a live broadcast of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo during CliffViews Online, April 19 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by 2020 Jamaica and Creative Building Finishes.
Taboo topics. Bulletins after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boyatings After Dark.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Watch for Shelley Fraser-Price.
I stay locked to the Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican. What you mean? Me, I have to tune into the Olympics, man, because I'm always busy, but what? I have to know when Sherika Jackson beat Shakari.
Brother, I have to have every notification for the Olympics. I want to hear every run.
Now Sherika Jackson coming
every jump.
Oh, that is absolutely huge of Wade Pinkham.
Every fling, live.
So, take us then.
Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while we're driving, run, Elaine, run.
Jogging. Yes. Run, Watson. Win again.
Watson is now a world champion.
Or even at work.
Quick. The race has started.
We can't miss a beat because we keep it locked
to the only station
for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
90
FM.
Nationwide 90.1, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9, and on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live. Nationwide, the new revolution in media.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We are having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really clip you starting?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boyatings After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Click News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Chewy flavor with delight. It really, really nice. May I say it twice?
The time by Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
6:43.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here nationwide at 5. It's all about what's in the nation's business. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Well, Commanding Officer for the St. Elizabeth Police, Acting Superintendent Coleridge Minto, says 4 people have been arrested during ongoing operations in the parish. He says the operations, which started on Friday, are in search of persons, wanted persons and illegal guns.
And the commander for the Area 3, Assistant Commissioner Calvin Allen, was part of Monday's ongoing operation, which led to the seizure of 76 rounds of ammunition at a residence in Potsdam District. Well, the acting superintendent, Minto, joins us now. Good evening, Superintendent Minto.
Good evening to you, sir. Good evening, Cliff, and good evening to your listeners.
Good evening. So tell us about the operations that have been going on for some time now in St. Elizabeth and the results.
Right. Thank you, sir. So we have been doing a series of target operations across various sections of the parish in response to some criminal activities that have been taking place. Friday morning was one of those operations that was held in the Junction policing area. Targeted operation, house premises was searched, and that resulted in the recovery of a firearm. 2 persons were arrested in that operation, a 17-year-old as well as a male. Mm-hmm. Both were charged, and they attended court, and they were remanded. Following that operation, another operation held in the Gosman area. That was also on Friday afternoon. Armed with a warrant, we went to a particular premises in search of wanted men and illegal firearms. A gun battle ensued. 1 man was fatally shot. Firearm recovered in that incident. 2 persons were also arrested in that operation. One of the persons has since been charged for several offenses. I can provide that shortly. And then following that operation, we continued. We went back to Grosman based on the intelligence we were receiving. And on Sunday afternoon again, did another targeted operation. A vehicle was searched, and 1 Glock pistol with 17 rounds of ammunition were found in the glove compartment of that vehicle. We again continued our ops right across the parish. In the most recent find, which took place in the name of the community eludes me now, but shortly, there were over 70, in fact, it was 80 rounds of legal 12-gauge cartridges were recovered in an abandoned pit. These highlights, to your audience, just part of what we're doing across the parish in terms of ensuring that we maintain law and order. Mm-hmm. Outside of these operations, we've been doing a number of other operations across the parish. If you allow me to just give you some real data, when we look on, for instance, the data, BCPs have increased our road policing, what you call roadblock, vehicle checkpoint, in 2023 up to the 10th of April. We did 1,570 VCPs. This year, for the corresponding period, we did 2,411 VCPs. In terms of road traffic offenses, for the period last year up to the 10th of April, 2,769 traffic tickets were issued. Mm-hmm. For the corresponding period this year, 11,049 tickets were issued. So, it highlights the increased operational activities that are taking place on the ground with the men. And I really want to commend the officers in the St. Elizabeth Division. They are working extremely hard. We're pushing them. They're out there by day and by night. Our detectives are doing a wonderful job in terms of the clear-up rate. We have made a number of arrests for various offenses, and the most recent bar robber, which perhaps the video went viral, that individual was picked up in the operations on Friday, and he was charged.
That's Leo Foster.
Leo Foster, yes, sir.
But before we go to that, given the significant increases in operations that you have you just outlined, are you seeing the dividends in terms of a decrease in major crimes in St. Elizabeth?
So the division in terms of major crimes is seeing a 23% reduction in major crimes, and that's a category that we measure. Murder, rape, robberies, and so forth. So the major crime category is seeing, in fact, all the categories are showing declines. Murder, although we're seeing an increase in murders, we do have more murders this year compared to last year. Trying to pull up that data, but all the other categories are showing decline, and overall there's a 23% decline in major crimes in the parish.
So why murder is the exception?
Well, you know, Cliff, the murder is one of those crimes. Today, for instance, there was a murder, a dispute on a construction site. One man stabbed another. There we had one in the Balaclava space where, a man and a woman involved in an issue. They lived together, and the mother joined in, and they end up with a stabbing. The mother and the daughter were charged. You have some of these situations that are domestic.
Yeah.
There are others that are gang related. Because every murder that happens in the parish, we do what is called an attribution to determine whether or not it's gang related, whether it is a lot of scamming related, or whether it's domestic or otherwise. And so you have these situations that even with the increased operational activities, we're still having situations like these.
With the information you have on hand, what is the major contributor in terms of murders? As you say, you've disaggregated it in terms of gang-related or domestic. What counts for the greatest share?
So for the murders we have, there's perhaps a somewhat of a. We do have a few of them that are domestic related. Majority of the murders for this year. Last year, I know a significant portion of them, perhaps about 60%, were in the domestic category. This year, we're seeing where a number of the murders are linked to either gang or lots of scamming. And the intel that comes to us based on the attribution tends to surrounding some criminal activity surrounding some of the persons that were involved and were subsequently killed. In fact, some of the persons were on our radar that were killed, persons who we would have conducted operations before based on information, never found anything on them, but persons who were known to the police based on some activities that they were involved in. But we're seeing where criminal activity seems to be the main reasons why some of these persons were targeted.
Let's turn to that video that has gone viral, yes, of that incident on the 27th of March. You can put up that video for us, yes, or YouTubers can make it out. No audio on the video, but on the 27th of March, about 8:40 p.m. at Dolly's HQ, located on Lambeth Road, is it? Lambeth or Lambeth Road in Goshen, Santa Cruz. Is that so?
Lambeth Road, yes.
Lambeth Road. And there you have, how many robbers were involved in this robbery?
Well, from the accounts that we have, Fifth, the reports that came to me indicated that there were 6 robbers involved in this incident.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if all of them were made out in the video, but right after the incident, we would have recorded statements from several of the persons who were in the bar at the time.
and the information is that there were 6 armed men, some with rifles, others with handguns, that conducted the robbery.
And you know, looking at the video on our YouTube Nationwide 90 FM live channel, you can see where we can identify at least 2 women were in the bar at the time.
That is correct, sir.
And only 2 women were there, or other patrons were there, ASP?
There were more than 2 persons that were in the bar. In fact, based on the information, persons were outside at the time. Some were forced inside. They were all held at gunpoint. Their phones were stolen. Poker boxes were removed from the wall. Cash was taken from the persons.
Oh, so the boxes, you can see them lifting out. Those are the poker machines?
Yes, sir. The machines were removed also. It's one of the things that we have seen in a number of the bar robberies where the persons go in and they use crowbars and they remove the boxes.
Yeah, you can clearly see in the video one of them wrapped, his head wrapped, his features, his face wrapped, except his eyes.
Clearly trying to pry something off the wall.
Yes, he has a crowbar hacking something off the wall. Yes, you know. So one of these you have been able to pick up, Superintendent. This is where you believe Foster was involved in this.
Yes, sir. So one person so far has been charged. He has Leo Foster, 37-year-old, unemployed of the area. He was charged for possession of prohibited weapon, robbery with aggravation, 3 counts, using firearm to commit a felony, and unlawful wounding. He will be placed before the courts.
Oh dear! And describe the guns they were carrying, or rifles. It seemed like they had rifles.
So they based on the description, and I wouldn't want to go too much in it, but because there's still an active investigation. We are actively pursuing some other suspects. We do have some information as to the possibility of the other persons, and so it remains an active investigation. We have actually increased our presence in that particular space. We are aware that persons are fearful, but we're doing all we can to reassure the citizens that we will investigate and seek out these persons and bring them to justice.
And the women who were involved, they were pretty shaken up, I imagine.
They naturally, sir, and not only those, but the secondary persons, even just persons who are from the community. Yeah. These are not things that anybody wants to see in their community. So outside of the primary victims that are directly involved, there are some spill-off. We've been in the area. We've been in a number of areas in just engaging our citizens. I didn't speak of last week operations so even prior to Friday, we had a curfew in Vineyard, and that was extended. We had 4 days of curfew. So a number of operational activities. But as we engage the citizens, and last week, just before the end of the curfew, one of those other engagements, hundreds of persons came out just to talk to the police and shared with us. And there is a real sense that people want peace in their communities. The few persons who are creating mayhem, people are talking up, and we're doing the law enforcement to ensure that we go after them and put them before the courts.
Do you have reason, and of course you can decide what to share and what not to share given the information, but do you have information that these are members of an organized gang or group or what? 6 men?
What I can say on the record, Cliff, there are a number of other events outside of this robbery that the video went viral, that the persons that we're looking for, to including the one that we have, there are other investigations that are ongoing that he will be questioned on. And so I don't want to go too much into it.
Sure,
but,
yes.
I appreciate that the number of robberies that took place, not only in Goshen, but particularly on the southern section of the parish.
Oh, there's a pattern.
And we are, and these operations are they're not out of luck. They're intelligence driven.
Yes.
And they were very targeted.
But ASP,
and that's why the kind of results that we're seeing.
ASP, as we look at the video, yes, and it's amazing. They would have spent some time inside Dolly's HQ. Yeah, this wasn't just a in and out. They spent some time. And how did they move these poker boxes, machines? Because surely they can't walk with these.
Well, unfortunately, the information we have that they came from the side building.
We're not hearing you very well, ASP. I don't know why.
The information that we have at the time, sir, is that they came on foot from a building to the side, and they walked. So if they had a getaway car, it would not have been immediately right where the bar was. They walked from behind to the side of the building, all of them, I'm told, on foot, and they left by the same entrance that they came. But there was no vehicle that was immediately right in the front of the bar where the incident took place. So they walked with the machines and they went back the same direction. They came on foot.
Yes. Wow. So there you have it. So ASP Minter, you're confident you're getting the support of the residents of St. Elizabeth?
The St. Elizabeth is a wonderful parish. The people in the parish have been extremely supportive. I walk into many communities with my team. I engage them at various levels, whether through the church, at community meetings, widely publicized meetings, and the feedback is very positive. As I indicate, sir, these operations were targeted. We went specific to specific premises, and we got the kind of results that we're seeing. I want to assure the citizens of St. Elizabeth my commitment and the commitment of my team in doing all we can to ensure that the parish remains one of the safer parishes in Jamaica, and we will continue to do all we can, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Coleridge Minto. He's a commanding officer for St. Elizabeth. Major crimes except murders down by 23% up to April 10 this year when compared to the corresponding period last year. And this video, ASP, we can see why it has gone viral, because it tells a story. Yes, so many elements. Yes, you literally at 20 to 9 on the evening of March 24, it is?
I'm more shocked to hear that they arrived on
March 27.
They arrived on foot and left on foot. That is quite.
But surely the getaway vehicle would have been nearby.
I mean, you can't. I find it hardly like that you could actually walk with that many items.
No, exactly. But these guys are smart, They plan these things. Because probably they didn't bring the vehicle anywhere near the entrance because they don't want the cameras to pick them up. Yeah, if they had cameras there, But I tell you, ASP, good work, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Just a clarification, sir. I know ASP was, but it's actually acting superintendent.
Okay, sorry. Yes, and we'd like them to remove the acting from it now.
But just before I really want to just use this medium to commend the detectives and my operation officers on the ground. They've been doing an excellent job, sir, and I want to publicly thank them for the work they're doing in the parish.
Yes.
And thank you, sir, for highlighting some of the things that we're doing.
Sure.
The media plays an important role to crime fighting.
No problem. Thank you very much, Acting Superintendent Coleridge Minto.
You're welcome.
This is Nationwide at 5.
The Watchman Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Industry, the missing link in Jamaica's economic development. Today's commentary begins with an exercise in deductive reasoning that seeks to determine one of the root causes for the lack of growth in Jamaica's economy. It goes like this. Countries that have well-developed industries are rich. Countries that do not are poor. Jamaica does not have well-developed industries. Jamaica is poor. There are 5 stages moving from an initial idea in the mind to the economic arrangement known as industry. Stage 1, ideation. Stage 2, conceptualization. Stage 3, projectization. Stage 4, commercialization. Ending with stage 5, industrialization. Jamaica is largely stuck at stage 4, commercialization, buying and selling. Except for agriculture and increasingly tourism, the sad reality is there are no true industries where it can be said Jamaica and Jamaicans control critical points along the value chain from research and development to market. For example, Jamaica excels at sports, track and field in particular, and music on the world stage. Yet these are not, by the strictest definition, industries. Consequently, although having great economic potential, these areas are underperforming in terms of impact, producing a mere 5% of GDP, gross domestic product. Jamaica does not meaningfully participate in the multi-trillion US dollars integrated global sports and music industries. One reason is the lack of investment. As an example, Jamaica does not have a single designed for purpose venue for music shows and festivals. The mecca of track and field events, the 68-year-old National Stadium, was described in the Daily Observer April 13, 2024 editorial as belonging to the Stone Age compared to what is available in other countries, some of which do not have our level of athletic prowess. The National Industrial Policy, NIP, that much celebrated but stillborn roadmap to Jamaica's industrial development from the 1990s, identified 5 clusters as essential elements in the national effort to promote growth and development of the economy. Cluster number 1 in the NIP includes entertainment and sports. The country waits with a bated breath full realization of the economic fruits of properly organized sports and music industries. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top.
So crisp, so light, so buttery.
When you're good, you're just good. Hey, had the national flavor. You go off and buy this bag. So good. It's just so good. Welcome Deluxe, the cream cracker that rises to the top.
So crisp, so light, so buttery.
National Baking Company, just so good.
As
Super Center, everything for your home and more.
And we mean everything, not just houseware and appliances. At Zan Super Center, we have furniture too. Furniture for your living room, dining room, bedroom, kitchen, and more. Low on cash? At a Zan Super Center, we have layaway plans. Don't delay. Come in today.
Zan Super Center, we're gonna make you smile. Zan Super Center, it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
It's 8 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're into the third and final hour of Nationwide now, and we have a feature on investments for you. How clear is your investment vision? How do you think like a stockbroker? Well, Sagicor Investments presents a new feature, Think Like a Stockbroker, to give you a clearer perspective on investment markets. Siobhan Campbell, yes, sitting right here, spoke with the Assistant Vice President of Research and Strategy at Sagicor Investments, Jodian Harris, for the first episode of Think Like a Stockbroker.
Some see the glass half empty, others see the glass half full. You check if there's water in the tap, because smart investors think ahead. This is Sagicor Investments, Think Like a Stockbroker, giving you a clearer perspective on the investment markets.
Welcome to Sagicor Investments Think Like a Stockbroker, where we give you the information and tools you need to navigate the market. I'm Siobhan Campbell, and with me is Assistant Vice President of Research and Strategy at Sagicor Investments, Jodian Harris. Good afternoon, Jodian.
Hi, Siobhan. Thanks. Happy to be here.
So you're going to tell us now, how does one think like a stockbroker? How do they develop that mindset of wealth generation?
All right. So before we talk about the mindset, let's just touch on what is a stockbroker. The stockbroker is really an intermediary. So the stockbroker acts on your behalf in the market. So if it is that you want to purchase a stock, your stockbroker is going to go out there and try and get the best price for you. So if you want to buy, they're trying to get the lowest price that's available. And if you're trying to sell something, they're trying to get the highest price for you. So your stockbroker is really acting on your behalf. In terms of how does a stockbroker think, if it is that I'm trying to get the best prices, then I, as a stockbroker, would have to know what is going to impact the price. And so what they're really looking at is current information, what's happening in the market, how things are flowing, what is it that they're also expecting. So they're tracking information that's currently taking place, and they're looking at what could likely happen in the future. So if it is that we're expecting to see an increase in terms of demand, then they may say you could get this for a little bit higher price because we're expecting to see this company do a little bit much more in terms of their earning performance. So they're really following what's happening currently, and they're looking towards the future. That's really the mindset of a stockbroker.
So how does a stockbroker think now?
They're thinking in terms of what is like to happen. So in the current climate, if it is that we're thinking of what a lot of persons are watching, so avid investors and persons who are following the markets are really looking at interest rates. And the reason is we're expecting that this movement in an interest rate could be the catalyst for movement in the market. So we could see once interest rates start to move in a downward way, increase in bond prices. We could also see an increase in terms of local equity prices. And when we think of the interest rate, we're looking at the policy rate that central banks have. For central banks now, which in our case would be the Bank of Jamaica, they're at a rate of 7%. So it means that your deposit-taking institution, your bank, once it is that they have an excess of funds, can go to the central bank, which is the Bank of Jamaica, and place funds with them on an overnight basis. And the rate that they would receive is at 7% per annum. And that is really what defines the rate. And that rate feeds into all the rates that we face. So if it is that you have a mortgage, it feeds into that rate. If it is that you have a car loan, it feeds into that rate. And the money that you would earn when you place your funds in the bank, it feeds into that savings rate and those high yield rates as well. So it's really what we are watching currently, because we expect that movement to be a catalyst for change in terms of uptick in the markets.
So we're well into the second quarter rather, but let's look back now. Quarter one, the first 3 months of the year, how did those things look in terms of interest rates and those other key indicators?
So for Q1, we actually saw some positive news because a part of what impacts the interest rate is inflation. And inflation information on the local market for February came out at 6.2%. And 6.2% is just a random number. But when you look at it in context of the target, so the Bank of Jamaica has a target for where it is that they want inflation to fall, and that's 4 to 6%. So it's outside of that. So it's a little bit above, but it's still a little bit of a deceleration from where it was in January. So what we're watching and what we're seeing in Q1 is that we're seeing a positive movement in terms of that inflation rate. And we have to bear in mind that inflation is important for investors. And the reason is that it's your benchmark. So inflation is really the minimum that you want in terms of your return on your investment. Because as we know, inflation, if you think about it, $5,000, what it could buy in 2022, it can't buy in 2023. You're actually going to get less if you go to the supermarket. And what you need to keep that is really inflation. So if you are having inflation moving with your money, then you can at least afford the same amount of things. But as wealth thinkers, you know, here at Sagicor Investments, we want to have more than we did last year. So we want to beat the inflation. But it's really key for us to watch. And we have been seeing positive movements in terms of that number and how it is that we expect it to impact interest rates.
Yeah, so forward now, Q2, how are things shaping up this quarter in terms of that key interest rate and other metrics?
So we're going forward now. So we talk on the past and we're looking ahead as a stockbroker does, the thing forward. One of the things you want to watch is also the GDP information, which is really how are goods and services being offered. Is it increasing? Is it not increasing? And what we saw coming out of the Statistical Institute, preliminary numbers, is that there was higher economic activity for 2023. And this is good news because when you're thinking like a stockbroker, what you want to look at is if there is an increase in economic activity, then this could mean that there is more demand for the goods and services for companies that are listed on the market. And if those companies are going to receive increase in demands and services, then that could mean more money in the pockets of the shareholder because it could mean more profit. And that's where we, as shareholders, benefit. And so that's one of the good things that we're seeing and we're looking forward to see going forward. We have also received forward information or projections from the Planning Institute of Jamaica as well as the Bank of Jamaica, and they're also expecting to see growth in terms of economic activity continue. So therefore, if we're working with the thesis, if we have economic growth, we're expecting economic growth to continue, then we're expecting to see some of these listed companies doing a little bit better going forward. And that really feeds into where we are in terms of our expectations for Q2. Similarly, our expectation in terms of interest rates, because as I said, it's the key that we're watching. And, you know, here at Sagicor Investments, we have a dynamic and very smart research team, and they're really always on the ball and watching. What it is that we are looking forward is that we'll probably start to see the Fed give some dips in the second half of this year. Based on the tone, in terms of how the Fed chair has been talking, it gives the impression that, you know, inflation is moving within closer to their target, which is 2%, and we could see dips starting in 2024, the second half, and that would feed well into what it is that would translate for us on the local space.
So you've told us what Q1 was like. You've told us what Q2 is shaping up to be. So explain to us now, how does one put that information into action and create their wealth?
It's nothing new for us at Sagicor Investments. We're always giving good information. Our research team is always working, looking at, you know, equities that we could recommend to our clients. So for most of 2022 into 2023, we were recommending a lot of the manufacturing companies because they were able to weather some of the storms, and we had periods of high inflation rates, and we saw where they actually did do well in terms of their performance, improvements in their net profit margins and such. And we have also included a few in terms of the financial space companies that we think, even though we're in an high interest rate environment, and it's a little bit ticklish for those type of companies that would have also done well. And we made those recommendations, and clients who invested based on those, you know, would have seen a bit of an uptick in their portfolio. We're also looking in terms of AI, you know, that's big, you know, in terms of what's that fashioning and for the market. So we have also been recommending to clients who are looking in the international space that there are companies in that area that you could be taking a position in, and that would also boost your portfolio. So it's really largely recommendations in terms of the assessments of what it is that we're seeing. I want to look to AMG, which is AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. They didn't have such a strong movement in the top line. And top line, we're talking here about revenue. So their revenue moved up, I think, less than 5%, right? But what they did was that they had an improvement in terms of savings for direct manufacturing costs. So that dipped because one of the things they did was that they invested in new machinery, and that has provided some benefit for them. And we saw our gross profit margin moving up, and that trickled down. Even though there was an increase in things like admin costs, it actually resulted in a high movement in terms of their net profit for the 6 months at the end of February. And if you're thinking like a stockbroker, you're thinking now what that means for the future. And if it is that they bought new machinery and it has some positive impact in, the quarter ended February,
there's room for growth.
Yeah, the machine not going to just stop work. No, so there is going to be that possibility that they could continue to see some amount of gains in terms of savings, in terms of the cost that they're doing for the direct manufacturing. And so that's a company that our research team is watching. And once that information is available and we have done our analysis, we share that with clients. All right, so if you're not a Sagicor Investment client and you're missing out, and I'd recommend that you speak with a Sagicor Investments wealth advisor to share a little bit more in terms of all of the recommendations that we have coming out of our team.
Oh, so you've explained to us how one thinks like a stockbroker. You've given us the information as to what to track, what has happened, what is to come. You've even broken it down as to which companies you think could be hot coming up. So the next thing is now, even people such as myself might still be a little bit bewildered as to how do I take advantage of that? Who do I go to? Yeah. Where do I go? Yeah. Who do I contact?
Yeah, it's us. Don't feel like, investing is too far for anyone. It's there for everybody. There's an opportunity there that everybody can invest in. It doesn't matter, where you're starting out. It doesn't matter the funds that you may think you have available. The key is to start. And we work very well here at Sagicor Investments with our clients. So once it is that you are a Sagicor Investment client, you get the good stuff, you get the good information, and we are able to work with you. So I encourage you, if it is that you want to get into investing and you haven't started as yet, not to be fearful, but to take that step and to walk into a Sagicor branch and ask for a Sagicor Investments wealth advisor, and they'll work with you. They'll walk you through what is needed. They'll tell you everything that you need to do, and they'll provide you with information to start to develop and grow your wealth.
Thank you, Julian. So you heard it here, folks. You want to get into investment? You want to think like a stockbroker? Go over to Sagicor Investments.
That was Sagicor Investments. Think like a stockbroker. Smart investors think ahead. Join us on Nationwide 90 FM, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for Sagicor Investments. Think like a stockbroker. When you build wealth with Sagicor Investments, you never have to settle for less than your dreams. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor so Sagicor Investments can help you create, grow, and preserve your wealth.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between.
Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings, each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m.
Boyatings After Dark.
No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored.
Boyatings After Dark.
Welcome back. We're going to take your calls now. The numbers to call are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Come chat with us.
Yes.
Watch for Shelly and Fraser Price.
I stay locked to the Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican. What you mean? Me, I have to tune into the Olympics, man. Because I'm always busy, but what? have to know when Sherika Jackson beat Shakari.
Brother, I have every notification for the Olympics. I want to hear every run.
Now Sherika Jackson coming
every jump.
Oh, that is absolutely huge of Wade Pinkham.
Every fling, live.
So, takers then.
Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while we're driving, run, Elaine, run.
Jogging. Yes. Run, Watson. Win again.
Watson is now a world champion.
Or even at work.
Quick. The race has started.
We can't miss a beat because we keep it locked
To the only station
For the Paris Olympics.
nationwide,
nationwide,
90 FM.
Nationwide 90.1, 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9 and on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live. Nationwide, the new revolution in media.
If you're into real estate, then you're going to love this. CliffViews Online will broadcast live from the second staging of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo, April 19 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. The expo will be from April 18 to 20. Hear expert presentations on April 18 and 19, then explore the Homeowners Expo on April 19 and 20 with giveaways, DJs, and live entertainment. It's the perfect outing for everyone, and the admission is free. That's a live broadcast of the International Real Estate Conference and Homeowners Expo during CliffViews Online, April 19 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Montego Bay Convention Center. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by 2020 Jamaica and Creative Building Finishes.
Good evening. 24 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're about to take your calls, but there is an item of news just coming into a news center. It's not good news for those who live in those areas served by the Constant Spring network or facility of the National Water Commission. The NWC is this evening saying clearly it has to warn its customers served by the Constant Spring plant that you should now brace for water lockouts. Siobhan, you have it. Let's read it together. It says the National Water Commission's customers are being urged to prepare for water supply regulations from the Constant Spring facility. The NWC says since the effects of the ongoing dry spell, drought conditions started a few months ago, the NWC, though strained, has sought to keep 24/7 operations at its corporate area facilities. However, with a recent and significant fall in river inflows, demand for water threatens to deplete storage levels at a very fast rate.
The NWC continues, it says, hence, the NWC has no choice but to commence the implementation of a scheduled water supply. This will ensure that there is a predictable and equitable delivery for water, even as the utility continues to manage the drought-impacted sources.
And as at yesterday, Tuesday, April 16, 2024, the storage level at the Hermitage Dam, which serves a Constant Spring plant, stood at just over 71%, or 281 million gallons. The Mona Reservoir, says the NWC, on the other hand, is at 74.2%, or 600 million gallons. With a smaller capacity and a faster rate of fall, regulations are now necessary at the Constant Spring facility.
And it goes on, the regulations will begin. That's next Monday, April 22, 2024, and will involve supplying customers in what they say are the two main groups. That's above and below the Ministry of Justice on the Constant Spring network. So the times are for 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Water will be supplied to the Eastwood Park Gardens,
Malines Road,
Hagley Park,
and roads leading off
Morton Park,
St. Andrew Park,
sections of Malines between Halfway Tree and Washington Boulevard,
Waltham Park,
Halfway Tree
Road,
and roads leading off
Kencott and Crossroads area. So those people living in those areas, you'll have your supply, yeah, between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And that's now for the supply for areas above the Ministry of Justice. That will be from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily. That's when you will have water, and that will be sections of Constant Spring Road and roads leading off, including Constant Spring Gardens,
Dunrobin Avenue,
Old Church Road,
Annette Crescent,
and sections of Waterloo Road,
Red Hills Road and roads leading off,
Mannings Hill Road and roads leading off,
Roehampton,
Valentine Gardens,
Arlene Gardens,
sections of Malines Road,
Perkins Boulevard,
Havendale,
Meadowbrook,
Queensboro,
Queensberry,
sections of Patrick City and environs,
and sections of Duhaney Park and Pembroke Hall. Right, so those areas, you'll have a water supply between 6 p.m. in the evening to 6 a.m. in the morning. And according to the NWC, where necessary, trucking arrangements will be mobilized to supply areas that cannot be served from the pipeline network.
The NWC also says there will also be close monitoring of the storage levels at the Mona Reservoir, at which regulations might become necessary if the levels get to 65%. So that means there might be further restrictions to come for other areas in the corporate area.
It says, given the adjustment to a scheduled supply, the public is being urged to implement personal water management activities, storage and conservation methods to safeguard their places of residence and business.
The NWC says it wishes to thank its customers who have continuously extended their patience and partnership during times of displacement. The company sought to further assure its customers that the regulations will be lifted once conditions, for example river inflows, are favorable and sustained enough to guarantee a normal supply.
So just to recap, the NWC's warning this evening, water restrictions have begun. Yes, come Monday, April 22, if you live below, if you are served by the Constant Spring facility and you are below the Ministry of Justice, and that's a landmark, below the Ministry of Justice on Constant Spring Road, just beside Marketplace, right? If you are below there, you will get water only between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. If you're above the Ministry of Justice, you'll have water between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Wow, it's begun. All right, who do we have? Richie, good evening.
Good evening, Daddy Hughes.
Good evening, sir.
Evening, Siobhan.
Evening, Richie.
I'm not really bright and educated like one of people, someone want to help me. If I should say the government have some very good plans for the country and execute them well, would you agree with me?
Which specific plans? Which specific plans?
What?
Which specific plans? What areas are we pointing to, or just in
terms
general?
of how this government is doing to grow the economy. That's some of my plans. I'm not going to them because that's the
well, if we're talking about economic management, the Andrew Holness administration has shown it has done quite well in terms of the economic policies. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I listened to that interview with Janet called on. What's his name again this evening?
Mr. Jackson. That's
Mr.
South
Jackson.
St. Catherine MP Fitzjackson.
Yes. So, question. If the what is it that they are saying that if the government would implement, meeting as they're supposed to meet, the government would be doing better? That they're saying?
You're talking the sessional committees?
Yes.
Well, there are areas outside of the economy that also need addressing, that the sessional committees are tasked with exploring potential weaknesses and finding solutions.
So, they are saying that, that's what they want the government to do.
Yeah, they would like the government to, as the Prime Minister has promised, give the backbenchers some work in terms of the sessional committees and bring a lot of those matters that have been left essentially off the agenda and bring them back in the fore.
So overall, they are saying that they would want the country to be doing better.
Yes, to be doing better, as would all of us.
Yes, but as an opposition, can they tell me that they would want the government to do better than what it's doing? As an opposition? In other words, which opposition wants a government to excel?
I don't think it's the government they want to excel, but the country to excel. One would hope that you don't want to sabotage one in order to get at the other.
The government is what in charge of the country,
Yes, but as I said, I would hope And I'm call it naive, but I would hope that one would not want to sabotage one, i.e. the government, in order to get at the other.
And I'm saying again, I'm wondering if they are saying because the government is not meeting as it's supposed to meeting, that prevent them from coming with some plans of what they will do
Richie,
to the country.
Richie, I think you should step back a little.
Step back?
Yeah, let me explain.
Explain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The committees that are set up, yeah, are committees of parliamentarians where they have certain specific areas of national life to oversee, to monitor. That's what the committees are there to do, to ensure that government services, government departments, ministries, agencies are working. Because if you don't have the oversight, then things will fall through the crack. Okay? So that is the first thing you must understand. The committees are not there, yeah, to say, well, government must do this or must not do this. The committees are there, they are made up of your members of parliament to look and to see whether we say we're going to spend $1 billion, yeah, build 6 new schools this year, that is done and done according to plan. That is what the committees are there for. Hello? Hello? I'm not hearing him.
So, Richard, you're on the line?
This is another. We had Richard, now we have Richard.
Richard?
Sorry.
Evening,
Good
Richard.
night, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Yes. I have worked on the cruise ship for a while, and there's a lot of things that I picked up. Because on what they do, water system, they are allowed to discharge certain stuff into the sea 10 nautical miles from ashore. So the water would be like the food stuff that is left over would be pulped and turned into liquid and it will dumped in the sea 10 miles away from shore. The grey water, the sewer water, all the waters that come back together, they would purify those water in a way that it can be become drinkable. But they don't let us drink it. I wouldn't drink it either, but these are things that they invested in. Now, we have certain areas always been mixed with some water based on the engine area. And they also were able to remove the oil from the water. So if they invested in these kind of technology, and when we come to Jamaica, we all get fresh water from Jamaican ultra because we have to survive by water. But if these companies are investing heavily in data, before they were using water for the pool, but everything else is, even the washing of the dishes, is recycled water. So here in Jamaica, why can't we look at ways that can work? Because
Richard, a lot of hotels, are already, and businesses are already doing this, in Jamaica. We are already, it's not widely known, but yes, several of the properties here, part of their investment is to recycle
water.
Yes, because it is a big money saver for you. It makes sense. Yeah, the challenge is usually the startup capital. Yeah, but most of the big properties with the 300, 400 rooms, the water that you use when you go there and flush, it goes back to water the plants and to take care of those things that I don't think they do it so that you drink it. They don't sanitize it or chlorinate it for you to drink, but they use it. They recycle it.
Yes, I'm very happy.
Hello.
Do we have to use fresh water for our?
Well, I'm not hearing Richard. I didn't hear. Then we lost Richard. Then Richard line look like it's wobbling. Hello, Richard.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sounding better.
The question is, sir, do we have to use fresh water. Do we have to use fresh water to do construction?
No.
But if you notice, that's predominantly used all over the country.
Yes. But I'm saying to you, Richard, yeah, this is not every Tom, Dick, and Harry going to be able to do that, you know. Yeah. And where we're going now in terms of the provision of water around the world, given climate change, more and more of us will find it economically viable, sensible, that when medium businesses are now planning, that you will now have to put into your financial projections issues like wastewater treatment, energy supply, renewables, because you know it's going to make sense for you.
Yes. And one thing is that
no, Richard, we're not hearing you. All right. 22 minutes going up to 8 o'clock. Lloyd, good evening.
Good evening to both of you.
Evening, Lloyd. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing okay. And you? And Cliff?
We're fine.
Yes, I've been noticing the big problem that has arisen with the clerk of the House of Parliament.
A big problem, is it?
Well, I've been told there's numerous amounts of protests coming from the head of the Confederation, a trade union, the civil service, the opposition. So, to me, it looks like a big concern. Now, what I would want to ask, a few months ago, there was the threat with the bomb scare. Now, that threat caused a lot of workers to lose hours on the job or off the job. It caused school to be closed down. No protest from the Confederation, a trade union. No protest from the Civil Service Association. No protest from the opposition. It is very strange to me, and I don't hear anyone talking about that. So it seems that everything was hunky-dory with that cause, you know. And I would like to send a message to the leadership of the Civil Service Association, because I hear a lot of people calling to your station complaining about treatment that they have gotten at government institutions. And only hear these people talking about pay. I don't hear them talking about productivity, you know, because to me, it looks like the only feeding tree in town now for the unions is the public service. I am noticing that they don't have that strong connection in the private sector anymore. So taxpayers is the feeding tree. And it is very, very shocking to me that I don't hear much about productivity from these union folks, you know. And the Civil Service Association, it's time that organize and make a scholarship in honor of the first person, the first whistleblower that I know. And I born before Gilbert. I experienced Charlie. And I can say my experience is that Ted O'Gilsey was the first whistleblower. And I don't hear nobody in the civil service union putting forth any acknowledgement for this man. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Barbara, good evening.
Cliff, I have a question for you. Does Gary McKenzie, Cliff, have to shut down Constant Spring Road for 3 hours because 2 people got shot?
What are you talking about?
Today, Cliff, the traffic on Constant Spring Road.
Around what time was this?
I got there, I was caught in traffic at after 3. He locked off Constant Spring Road. Nothing could move. The buses stopped. The buses that were trying to get into the Halfway Tree Transportation Center, they couldn't go in there. People just got off the bus and started to walk.
Oh, this is the shooting incident at Central Plaza.
Correct.
Oh, but that happened at 11:20 this morning.
After 3, you couldn't move on Constant Spring Road, Eastwood Park Road. All the plazas were jammed. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, Constant Spring Road, Cliff, is what, 4 lanes, 5 lanes?
4.
Can't you open 2, close 2, and open 2 so the traffic could flow?
Oh.
I mean, I just don't understand, Cliff. We're just not good at managing. Cliff, it was ugly out there today. People were cutting through the mall. It was horrible. And I'm like, why close all 4 lanes? Police should try and do a better job, Cliff. I mean, better tactics, better strategy. But today was a mess.
And and you're asking for ACP Gary McKenzie to explain.
Yeah, what is the strategy behind closing all 4 lanes?
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, kids from school were just standing there. Nobody could move, Cliff. The buses couldn't get into the Halfway Tree Transportation Center, which was packed with people. I mean, come on, strategize. Think this through, Cliff, before you close the entire Constant Spring Road. 2 people were shot. I get that. But they were shot at what, 11:30?
11:20 this morning.
Yeah. Maybe it's something you can discuss with him, Cliff. But I was caught in it today, and it was ugly.
Oh, okay.
All right. Have a good day, Cliff.
All right, Barbara.
Didn't we recently have that discussion?
Huh?
Didn't we recently have that discussion regarding the management of crime scenes?
Did we?
Yes. When a similar incident happened, I believe, in front of the office of the Prime Minister.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, one morning.
Yes.
Yes. It was late last year or earlier this year.
I believe it was earlier this year.
Yes. Well, if you can get Gary McKenzie for us, why a shooting incident in Central Plaza? It was not on the road, it was in the plaza. Why they shut off Constant Spring Road up until...
for almost 4 hours.
Yes. Cedric, good evening.
Good evening again. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah, I was trying to talk yesterday regarding the controversy really about representatives, the Speaker and the rules of Parliament. Is the Attorney General and the Parliament legal officers, do they do the same job?
No.
Right. So the Attorney General is separate from the legal arm of the Parliament.
Yeah, the legal arm of the Parliament is the Parliamentary Council.
Council, right? They have their own rules and their own regulation that runs the Parliament.
Yes, but no, that's a lawyer for the Parliament.
Right.
The Parliamentary Council, right, Sheva?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, and they have they have their own, in a sense, government inside there then. So when the legal council of the parliament, legal council of the parliament said, no, this is not the way it is to be done, this is how it's to be done. Why are we questioning the legal department of the House of Parliament? Why are we doing that?
Is that being done?
I don't believe so, because as I understand it, and as I said, I don't have the Attorney General's opinion in front of me, but in the Parliamentary Council's opinion on the matter of how matters should be tabled in the House of Representatives, they said that the law was silent on the issue, essentially. And she said that she shared the same opinion as the Attorney General. So one can assume there is no variance between the Parliamentary Council's opinion and that of the Attorney General. So even if we don't have the actual written opinion, we to an extent understand what the Attorney General's ruling was on that matter.
Good. So why then now we continue to question the decision that was taken by the Speaker of the House?
Because on that same issue, because as I understand it, I asked to be corrected, the Parliamentary Council said the law was silent, as in the Parliamentary Council, was uncertain themselves as to what procedure would best be adopted in this situation, and Madam Holness, using her interpretation of what she believes to be the proper interpretation of the law, put in these new rulings.
No. I will listen to an interview with Mr. Hughes and Mr. Darling, the constitutional lawyer who teaches at one of the universities, and it was explained to us that what was done was the correct thing to have been done.
But that is their legal opinion.
Good.
And that's what we are dealing with, a lot of legal opinions. We don't have a final ruling as to say this is the concrete way to do it.
That's a final ruling.
No, but a legal opinion of a random lawyer is not a final ruling.
No,
he could be wrong for all we know. Mrs. Holness could be wrong for all we know. The Parliamentary Council could be wrong for all we know. We don't have a final ruling.
How could they be wrong? They have judged many other decisions before, haven't they?
But these are not rulings of the court. These are legal opinions.
You just told me a while ago that Parliament.
It wasn't a ruling. The Parliamentary Council doesn't give rulings. It gives opinions.
Mr.
The court gives rulings. We're not in front of a court.
Mr. Chevron, I just distinguished a while ago that the Parliament and the legal whatever are two different areas.
But that doesn't make one right and the other one wrong, or both of them right or both of them wrong. You know,
but lawyers differ their opinions on every case.
We spend so much time in the minors in this country. Just put the damn thing in front of the court.
But why should they do that?
Because it is simple, sir. There's a serious difference of interpretation of how the law should be applied. And in such matters, you turn to the court. That is why we have a court.
But Mr. Hughes,
there can be one interpretation, there can be another interpretation.
And there's one interpretation, the rules of the Parliament one way.
And if that is being questioned, yes, then therefore, to put it to bed, the court is there. That is why we have the judges.
But then you're taking away. To me, you're not taking away the legality of the Parliamentary Council.
No, sir.
The Parliamentary Council is a council. It's not a court of law.
And by the way, council is an individual here. The Parliamentary Council.
But it's not one. I don't think to one.
No. So you're mistaken. When we say the Parliamentary Council, it's COUNSE. Yes. And right. And that person can be wrong.
But Mr. Hughes,
no one.
The standing orders are
no, but even in that instance, the Parliamentary Council, as I said, I asked to be corrected, but I recall reading that ruling, and she said she was silent on the matter, meaning she did not give her opinion one way or the other. She left it to the Parliament to decide as to what they feel was the best procedure, and in doing so, Mrs. Holness, the Speaker of the House, who is the ultimate authority in the Houses, not in the House of, but in the House of Representatives, decided on a course of action that the other members of Parliament and the opposition did not agree with.
And therein lies why it should go to a court
All right, but in the beginning, I think I heard, I don't remember if it's Jump or if it's JFJ, one of those, said that in the beginning, Mrs. Olympic should not have sent it to the Attorney General.
And all you're saying, sir, gives more credence why we should put it before the court to rule. So who going to rule then?
No, I am not. No, I am not saying it can go there. But I'm saying, why are we questioning the authority?
Hold on. We question anybody's authority, sir. Hold on. You rubbed me the wrong way now. Because let me tell you, this is not Putin's Russia. It is not Putin's Russia. It is no. We live in a democracy, sir. The rule of law, and law is open to different interpretations.
But this is not a law. This is a structure that is laid out for the Parliament.
And it is also subject. And it is also subject to judicial review and interpretation. That is why we have a justice system. It can't be left to one person said this is it and this is it. No, sir. In a work, so. In a work, so. If you go to the court and stop wasting your time and beating up a gum.
No, but I'm saying then you are changing to me. You are changing the statute.
No, we are interpreting it.
No.
We are interpreting it.
Mr. Darling explained to you everything, and you accepted what he said.
And
I listened to that.
And there are other Jamaicans who don't.
But Mr. Hughes,
and that don't make what Mr. Darling say the golden rule.
It's not what he said. It's what is written in the statute.
And he was interpreting it. He was interpreting it for us.
He was explaining it.
He was interpreting it for us. So the fundamental thing, this is a democracy.
I do not. Well, I hear what you're saying, but to me, we should not question the authority.
No. We question anybody. We question anybody's authority. So long as you do it within the law. Yes? No. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Before we go to the next call, because this is paramount, this is the opinion from Lee Andrea Wilson. She's the Parliamentary Counsel. And she says... Wilson said the Integrity Commission Act and the standing orders, the rules that govern the Houses of Parliament, are silent on the issues, and reports may be submitted to the committee either before or after tabling in Parliament. So we don't have an actual opinion from the Parliamentary Council as to how this should be managed. The Speaker of the House chose what she believed was to be the best way forward based on her interpretation of the law.
There you go. Anyway, that's it. That's it for the evening. Yeah. But you know, we also have a more fundamental problem in the country, our ability to think.
Critical thinking is not something easily taught.
Is a weakness for too many Jamaicans. Yeah, because he's going on the fact that there are rules and the Parliamentary Council. So therefore, if you come and challenge the rules, and there's a genuine debate going on over this,
precisely,
who is right? Yeah, that's what you have a court to do.
And the debate is so genuine that even the House Speaker decides that, based on the information that is currently out there, let me move back a bit.
Exactly.
And reassess.
Mm-hmm. No. Anyway. That's how we're going to leave it for today. Thank you so much. I won't be here for tomorrow and Friday. Mr.
It will be me and Mr. Brooks.
Right. Yeah, have fun.
We'll do our best.
Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Mr. Andrew Anderson, members of the news and production team led by our editor, Cara Powell. Yes, thank you all so much. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.